Interesting. There's at least half a meter of space below the boards. The shack must have been built on stilts. The next time I'm being pursued by hellhounds and hide in a shack, I'll look out for that as I go in. I'll just cut myself a trapdoor in the floor. It can also be closed again in an emergency. Cool. I can sneak outside through the hole. Good. Let's try it. I'm better leaving the heavy junk here. Good. No wild beasts for miles. Weird. No tracks. The beasties couldn't have just disappeared into thin air. No.
Describe what you saw.
I saw myself as a child. I was playing with my sister in the woods. It's not far away from the castle. I could see it behind the trees. There was a man there, too.
Could you make out who it is?
No, he had his back to me. But something very bad has happened.
What's happened?
My sister, she's fallen in a hole. She's screaming. What should I do?
Adrian, you're not there anymore. Remember what you did at the time.
I ran to the hole, and I don't know. I can't remember. You woke me up before I could help her.
I didn't wake you up, Adrian. You woke up of your own accord. It would appear everything in you is trying to fend off this memory. Seems you really want to suppress it.
Or I just can't remember.
The memory is still there. You just need to let it happen.
It's easy for you to say.
Perhaps you should tackle this memory in a conscious state. Try and find the place in the woods that you saw. You need an anchor in the present.
If you say so.
And with regards to the hallucinations, I've ordered a medication. It should help to suppress them.
Very good. I'll take it. At least you can rely on conventional medicine.
Please take this prescription and give it to a buyer in the shop. She'll give you the medication.
Oh, she's a pharmacist, too?
In a little village like this, everyone has more than one role.
Doctor?
How can I help you?
Do you believe me?
Darren, Adrian, we've gone through this so many times before. Of course I believe you.
Then why am I still on the hit list?
I'm a doctor, not a judge. By the way, they rejected the assessment of your not being of sound mind.
Rejected? But what about the awful nightmares?
That kind of reaction is only normal, Adrian. If somebody suddenly revealed to me that I was descended from a long line of bloodthirsty murderers, I'd have nightmares too.
How come you ended up here in the first place?
A colleague of mine I'd known from my student days. A doctor. Heinz Hermann. once worked here in the sanatorium. He was a friend of the Gordons. Then, 12 years ago, those dreadful murders took place. Heinz was one of the victims. I came here to give his family and the others a little spiritual support, and I'm still here. That's just how life goes sometimes.
Is it true that Spooner was sent here as a punishment?
Yes, I've heard that too.
What did he do then?
As far as I know, he overstepped his authority back in London, and that led to some guilty people getting off. Or maybe the other way round. However, I'm not exactly right in the picture with all this.
Oh, great. A bad-natured investigator who can't tell the difference between guilty and innocent. I couldn't have come up against a better guy. Get this, I've been released on bail.
Well, that's a good reason to celebrate.
I'm not quite so sure. The bail was paid anonymously. You know anything about that by any chance?
Anonymously? No. Who'd do something like that?
No idea. To be honest, I'd hoped you were behind it. You like living in Willow Creek?
Yes, I like the life and the people. It's like time stood still here.
And every few years, along comes some psycho and murders half a dozen locals.
Yes, well, compared to the murder statistics in London, it's a proper holiday here.
Do you see me as being an arsonist?
Judging by your nightmares, you do at least seem to have a violence-orientated imagination.
Yeah, but Stephen King has that too.
As far as I'm aware, he has never been under suspicion of an arson attack resulting in 3 dead.
Whose side are you actually on?
On your side, Adrian.
Good. I swear to you that I've only ever told you the truth.
There are as many truths as there are people, Adrian, and we still have to find yours.
What can you tell me about Warm Hill?
Well, not a lot, really. It's a little hamlet that belongs to Willow Creek. There are only a few people living there. Most of the houses are falling apart. I think it's where all the miners used to live.
Do you know Ralph?
Ralph? No. Who's that?
Oh, not so important. Something strange happened to me last night. I don't know what was real and what wasn't.
Tell me about it, Adrian.
I was just on my way back to the village when I was attacked by large black dogs in the woods. Fortunately, there was a shack close by, which I was able to hold up in. I couldn't get back out through the door. Once I cut my way outside through the floor with a chainsaw, there were no signs the dogs had been there at all. Then I fell unconscious. Supposedly, Murray found me there in the middle of the night and brought me back to the hotel. But I can't remember any of that.
A classic dream of repression. The black dogs, and then... there's nothing there. It's a deep-seated fear of the consequences of your actions.
I saw a woman dressed in white, almost looked like some kind of wedding dress.
Where did you see her?
When I was locked in the shack, from the window, she was standing on the edge of the clearing. She saw me and then disappeared into the woods.
Did she say anything, or do anything?
Well, I didn't hear anything, but perhaps. She certainly wasn't just wandering around. It almost seemed as though she was looking for something.
Really? There's a legend here in Willow Creek about a white lady who wanders through the woods looking for her child. In vain, as the story goes, but no one has ever seen her.
Until now.
Don't worry, Adrian. That's a completely natural reaction to this myth. It originates from the collective longing for a pure mother figure who can be adored like a saint. Out of the whole thing that there are chosen ones who perceive her apparition. And everyone wants to be a chosen one. That's just human.
You've got an explanation for everything, haven't you?
Psychology is the modern theology.
What do these black dogs mean? What kind of creatures are they?
Fleeing from vicious, aggressive dogs. That sounds like a typical nightmare. It expresses the fear of one's own aggressive side. Were the dogs alone, or was someone with them?
No, they were alone. Just the dogs.
Dogs who roam around without a human master suggests a suppressed issue with dominance. It could also suggest exactly the opposite, though. That the dreamer is neglecting a particular part of himself, which is alluded to by the nature of the dogs. What breed of dog were they?
No idea. Hellhounds? They were definitely huge and black.
Large dogs reinforce the meaning I was talking about. The fact that they're black would suggest their origin in the subconscious.
Are there any tablets I can take for this? Catch you later.
Take care.
Dr. Winterbottom's notebook. Probably very revealing. At some point she'll be able to write her memoirs with it. You could hardly call this straggle of flowers a bouquet. Today's newspaper. There are probably lots of new, unbelievable revelations about the arsonist in it. Dr. Winterbottom writes down a patient's dreams in the green books. But I haven't seen anyone else but me here yet. Strange. A Newton's cradle. The ball passes on its momentum to the next one, which passes it on to the next until it reaches the last one, which can't pass it on any further and is kicked into the air. A simple example of kinetic energy, but its only use is to work this toy. My adoptive mother had a lamp like that. I always had fun hiding in it when I was a kid. I wonder if the record of our discussions will end up in there. My head's still pounding. Lucky that Murray found me in the woods yesterday. I probably would have frozen otherwise. I should get this medication as soon as possible. And I could ask the inspector whether Murray's finally corrected his statement. And I've got an appointment with the priest, too. It can't be that difficult to find my father's grave. Oh, and I should find that ominous place in the woods. Enjoy it, Darren. It's gonna be a long day. Hey, Matt. So, when you finally gonna get gone with your fun fair?
So, how are we then, eh? Still possessed by the devil?
I wouldn't joke about it if I were you.
That's supposed to be a threat.
Let's say more, well-meant recommendation.
You really have got a few screws loose.
So, what exactly did go wrong when you were born?
Not half as much as when you were born, Mr. Twisted Firestarter.
Have fun.
Oi, arsehole! When you miss me, paint a heart on the wall.
Will do. In your blood. Hey, Zach.
What do you want now?
Did I say something wrong?
No, I'm just a bit busy. The inspector hasn't been here all morning, and I have to do everything myself.
Where's the inspector?
Cafe, I think.
Or maybe you can help me. Has Murray been here about his statement?
Murray? Yes, he was here. Wanted to discuss something urgently with the inspector.
Do you know what it was about?
I can't tell you that.
I'm sure you must have heard of the White Lady.
She's spooked around the woods for centuries. Why do you ask? Is she a relative of yours too?
By the way, I was in the woods last night and I got chased by some black dogs into a shack. I got locked in, but I managed to escape using a chainsaw. Then I fell unconscious.
You just can't help yourself, am I right? And why are you telling me this?
You look so bored. Goodbye, Constable. Closed. Strange. The shop was still open this time yesterday. Just look at that. That's a buyer's mailbox. And there's the post from today. The package is from a tea supplier. It says here that the customer is Gordon's Palace. Either the postman's quite lazy, or he doesn't like Murray. Maybe I should take the package to him. I'll be dropping by the hotel sooner or later. What else is there? That must be mine. The sender's a drug company. I'll leave the prescription in the barrel, so a buyer knows that I picked up my medication myself. Hello, Madam Fortuna.
Adrian, I knew you would call again.
Who else could it be?
Pick a car.
Stop.
I've drawn the chariot.
Oh, you were stuck in the snow?
Snow? No, your car, Adrian. You're looking for the right way. You will have to make a decision. And I see death.
Again.
Someone will shoot out your light.
How am I supposed to understand that?
You don't need to understand, Adrian, but you can put up a fight.
How can I put up a fight?
Stay away from shootings.
Yeah. Thanks. What a load of crap.